Welcome to literary and jury charge practice. Let's get started with this jury charge. And let me take a look here really quickly and see if we have any words that might be a little bit of a challenge. I see inference. Circumstantial evidence. All right, that's all that's jumping out at me right at this moment. So let's go ahead and get started. Ready? The test is not the number of witnesses, but the convincing force of the evidence. Keep in mind that the number of witnesses is not the deciding issue. The deciding issue is the evidence. You must examine the evidence and decide whether the individual is guilty or innocent. In making your decision, it is important that you know the difference between direct and circumstantial types of evidence. Evidence may be classed as either of the two types. The two are important for you to understand in making your decision. The evidence that has been presented is in the form of testimony from several witnesses who saw the accident on one side and several tests done by the other side. The fact that the defendant went to another state and had to be extradited does not mean that he was guilty. You must not let this information cause you to find the defendant guilty. You must not let any information other than what has been presented in court affect your decision. Direct evidence proves a fact without an inference. You must determine if there was proof that did not require an inference. Proof that does not require an inference provides direct evidence. An inference is a deduction. The only inference that you should make from the evidence is that which can be believed. The law is clear when it speaks to the question of inference. Direct evidence proves a fact without an inference. If you find that the direct testimony is such that it is credible, you must find in favor of the defendant and move to clear him. If you decide that he is innocent, that is what you must do. In direct evidence, there is no deduction. The fact is what it is. As the district attorney pointed out, when you see someone commit the crime, that is direct evidence. There were some people who testified that they saw the accident occur and that there was no way that the defendant caused the accident. There were others who testified that the accident was a direct cause of the defendant. Now you must decide. Seeing the accident happen is direct evidence because it does not require an inference. You do not have to apply any inference. right, we will get back to that jury charge. And we did have, let's see, inference. They did say inference a lot. Extradited. That was the one I did notice as well. Extradited. All right, now let's work on some more ideas for social media, for posting on social media. And we were last on the section about provocativeness. Provocativeness. Okay, here we go. Each professional will need to determine where they draw the line on provocative content based on their priorities, comfort level, or even their position. Yates, for example, was careful with the type of language she would permit on her page, not just from herself, but from her contacts. When I was on NCRA's board, I didn't permit anything with profanity on my Facebook page, Yates said. Yates was also concerned about being associated with extreme religious or political views while she was such a public figure within the association. I unfriended some family members and friends who posted very religious or political content. I would not permit anyone to tag me in a photo unless I could see it and okay it first. Be aware of the message your pictures send as well. Pictures say 1,000 words and can be someone's first impression. Starbucks said, unfortunately, it's hard to recover from a bad first impression. Permanency. It is possible that posts from 1, 2, 5, or 10 years ago are still accessible online. Review old content to make sure potential employers will not come across anything embarrassing. Whether you're looking for a job now or 2 years from now, you never know who's going to come across it, Starbucks said. Don't get caught thinking you can permanently delete a post, Rodriguez said. It is possible that the post had been captured in a screenshot prior to the user deleting it. Very, very helpful here. I hope. Yeah, this is actually taken from the magazine, the Journal of Court Reporting from NCRA. This magazine is dated February of 2016. So it's actually the article was written about a year ago, but still definitely very helpful. And if you're a member of NCRA, you might want to, if you wanted to see the hard copy of it. That's the date of the magazine. All right, let's get back to our jury charge. Actually, let's start this. This is a new one. We'll start this one. And let's see, we have prosecutor, tangible evidence, insanity. This is about the insanity defense. Okay, here we go. The defense attorney used charts to show the times that the defendant had been speaking to someone. The arguments presented by the prosecutor were not very good. The prosecutors tried to show that the defendant committed the crime of murder. They tried to prove that there was evidence that was really good that would prove that the defendant was guilty of the crime for which he was accused. Insanity is a defense that is used sometimes. It is based upon the principle that a defendant should be punished for a crime only if he is able to understand what he did. It is based upon the principle that the defendant is someone who knows right from wrong. In many states, if people are suffering from a mental disorder, the question is whether they can know right from wrong. The insanity defense prevents individuals from being criminally punished. There are many questions that arise from the insanity defense. One of the questions is whether it is possible for a person to judge whether another person really suffers from a mental disorder. It is a difficult judgment to make. It involves getting opinions from experts on both sides. This process takes time. It is questionable whether anyone can determine whether another person is suffering from a mental disorder or is faking it. Generally, it is thought that many people use the insanity defense to get out of being punished for a crime, but that is not so. The process is so involved that it often prevents individuals from using it. Most people think that the defense of insanity is used a great deal. The insanity defense is not used as much as is thought. The reason is that using the defense requires that a person subject himself to a number of tests. It may involve other things. Finding a person guilty by reason of insanity may result in a longer period of time locked up in a mental institution than would the sentence be for the crime. That is something that the defendant has to consider. Get back to our magazine article about posting on social media. This section is called Privacy is an Illusion. Facebook has a variety of privacy settings, and it is a good idea to learn how to use them. But nothing on social media is truly private. Remember, when you post something, even though you are posting it for your online friends viewing, it is entirely possible that your audience is much wider than you anticipated, said Bonifio. Rodriguez adds that this is true even in closed private groups. Anyone in the group can see posts or can screenshot a post and share it with an outside audience. Knight also points out that groups that are primarily for court reporters or captioners may have a wider membership. I know a lot of deaf and hard of hearing people will join closed groups because they want to follow the profession, said Knight. Plurality. Some people may find that the easiest solution is keeping personal and professional lives separate. Consider setting up a separate identity that is strictly for work-related interactions, and carefully segregate your personal online presence, Yates said. Bonifio agrees. It's a good idea to have one account that's just for business or just for personal stuff, she said. If you do mix the two, take the time to configure the security settings so your personal posts are only seen by your family and friends. Alright, back to some jury charge practice. Ready? You do not have to arrive at the conclusion from any other means. You do not have to use the tests to determine your decision. You must decide whether the testimony of the witness is credible. In circumstantial evidence, there is the presence of an inference. Circumstantial evidence proves a fact from which an inference can be drawn. You see the results of a crime, and you see someone leaving the scene in a hurry. That is the case. Several people saw the accident occurring and were able to give testimony as to what happened. In this matter, the evidence is direct. Some testified that they saw the defendant leaving the scene. The district attorney used this to indicate that there was guilt on the part of the defendant. The defendant's attorney indicated that the defendant left the scene to get help because no one was there to help. If someone did not directly see the crime occurring, the evidence would be circumstantial. The evidence would be circumstantial because you did not actually see the crime occurring. The tests are not direct evidence. The tests used to determine the speed at which the defendant was driving are circumstantial evidence. The case is not just an accident case. It is a criminal case because there is the determination that a crime had been committed. The both sides in this case provided direct evidence and circumstantial evidence. You must determine whether there is enough evidence to prove the case set forth by the district attorney. All right, that will conclude our literary and jury charge practice. Thank you.